It's John back again with another golf video. You guys just saw me ride to work in this thing, and the reason I'm at work is because work has a lift. We have 5 lifts, but it's gonna make what I want to do today a lot easier on me. So I got a list of undercar items I want to take care of, and yeah, just trying to make it easier on myself and get some of the stuff fixed on this car that I've been wanting to. I've probably driven 1,000 miles on this thing since I bought it. I haven't done a thing to it. Been driving back and forth to work, and it's been doing what I needed to do. So I'm looking forward to getting some stuff taken care of on it, and then maybe we can get to some fun stuff. So yeah, just thought I'd bring you guys along on this one. All right, let's take a look at what we got here. I got some rotors, coated rotors. Got some oil. We don't need all this, but I didn't know how much, so I brought both. Pads to go with rotors. Oil filter to go with oil. I got inner tie rod ends. I got outers. I got boots. We found that out in the last one, what we were gonna need. We got wheel bearings for both sides. Just want to do both because I'm gonna be up here and in here, so get them taken care of, and hopefully that takes care of my loud rotational noise. So that's been kind of the biggest annoyance on this thing. And then I've got rear brake shoes, hardware, wheel cylinders, because I found out after driving it for a while the right rear wheel cylinder leaks. So I'm just trying to get this thing back up to snuff so I can feel good about driving it. And I've got another box of stuff that doesn't need to be done with a lift that I was hoping to do at home. If we get ambitious, maybe we'll get into some of that, but this is definitely like the car get back to a safe feeling point starter kit right here. So let's get this thing up in the air and start taking stuff apart. Got to kick her into high gear. So I think I just found part of my noise problem, and I hope we're gonna fix it. But I'm taking the front brakes apart here, and the bearing, like the hub, appears to turn independently from that shaft. So I'm guessing what's happening the whole time I'm driving is this thing is just chunking in the splines of the axle. And I've got a new hub, so we'll at least have half new splines, and we're gonna torque that nut down to spec and hopefully alleviate that problem, and in the process we'll end up with new bearings. But I'm anticipating the bearing job to be the worst part of the job, so I always like to start with the worst part first, and then the rest is like having dessert. So there's a little bit of philosophy for you. Make sure I got the right parts before I destroy the old ones. Ooh. My goodness. It's not moving at all. Maybe this is why nobody replaced it before. Maybe we'll deal with that once it's off the car. Stick it in the press. I can just unscrew the inner for now. Get this knuckle off. We're finding all kinds of fun stuff on this thing. I just found another problem. That nut, I don't know if you can see that. Hold on, let me help you out a minute. That nut pinching the ball joint, I can undo the bolt, I can unscrew it, but it spins in the nut, so that nut has no threads on it. Another confidence inspiring find. I'm gonna try to get that bolt out of there, and we should have hardware here to replace it, so yeah, I'll add that to the list. Last guy We got a nut separate from a bolt. See if the same guy did something on the other side. All right, what's missing? Yup, you guessed it. First knuckle off. I got a little bit of play in the bearing. It actually looks like somebody replaced the bearing once. Hopefully that makes my job easier. I'm gonna replace it again because I don't know who touched this thing last, or what, if they knew what they were doing. So I'm gonna try get the other knuckle off, and we'll get both of the bearings going at the same time. And I don't care what your uncle's cousin says, you shouldn't hang the brake calipers by the hoses. Just do something stupid like that. Little piece of line bent up. That's hook. Also, I realized I made a grave mistake. I left my coffee in the car up there. So let's fix that problem next. There it is. There we go. All's well. Cheers. You drop everything on the floor in a minute. You ain't go any farther if you leave it there. Life hack. I love it when I can see the problem. So look at this problem. Here we have the suspect bad wheel bearing, and yeah, it makes some noise, but it's quite a bit loose. If you look, lots of play in that. And I mean, some play, like the preload, gets taken up by the axle when you torque it down. Since ours wasn't torqued down, I think that's what caused this thing to fail. So this one also looks like maybe it was replaced, but probably not. There's grease coming out of it and stuff, so I feel a lot better about doing both of these, especially finding that stripped out bolt on the ball joint for the driver's side. So let's get some stuff pressed out and we'll check our parts before we start. Can't go back once you get them out. Just, whoa. So that's why they call it a snap ring. And I need this because I didn't notice the new one didn't come with a snap ring. So I'm gonna have to start calling it a drop ring. After all that jazz, we're left with two nice new wheel bearings and hubs. And as you can probably see, the second time around always goes a little faster because you know what you need to do. First time I learned a few things. Sad part is I probably won't have to do this again for another 20 years, so either way, now it's done. I did not figure out how to get this out yet. I thought I could put it in the press, but I didn't think that I couldn't hold behind it to press the stud out. So I'll have to figure something else out. I'll probably just put it back on and beat on it, heat it up or something. But these bad boys are ready to go back on the car. torque was out of oxygen. I guess we didn't need it on this time. Another law of nature, this thing is never where you left it last. Wow. All right. That's behind us now. Well, after that ludicrous display, I think the next step is going to be get the inner tie rod ends out and replace those, put the new outers on, reassemble with new brakes, and torque those wheel bearing nuts down, spindle nuts. Got new bolts in the pinch bolts for the ball joints. Yeah, I'm just going to keep on trucking. Spent about a half an hour doing a little problem solving, camera battery charging, eating some stuff, that kind of thing. And what I ended up finding was the tie rod ends, the inners that I got, were too short. And I tried to line it up and get it to work, and by the time I had everything straight, I was like, I don't know, a quarter of an inch from touching the outer tie rod ends with the threads. So something was wrong. And I ended up taking the boots off. I had everything all buttoned up and took the new inner tie rod ends off and held them up next to the old ones, and they were like an inch too short. So I was doing the thing that I said not to do, where I didn't check my part before I put it on. Granted, I probably would have had to take it off anyway to see, but I went too far. So learn from me, and I should learn from me too. I took the old one, or took the new tie rod ends off the rack, put the old ones back on. They were actually pretty tight. I re-greased them and cleaned them up, put Loctite on. They're all tight to the rack. I actually found the one on the left side was kind of not even tight, so I think that's where some of the play was coming from. And I think we're gonna be okay. I'm gonna put it back together, do my best eyeball alignment before we get it on the rack behind me, and that should be, we're getting close to wrapping up the front end. I'll probably loop you guys in once I have the whole thing together and just go over what I did. And yeah, I'll catch you then. Back where I should have been about an hour ago, but I got the old inner tie rod ends put back in. This time they're the right length, like they were before. Didn't need to touch them, I guess, but you know, sometimes you don't know until you get in there. Got the boots on, tie rod ends are eyeballed and temporarily tightened before we align. I'm gonna do some brake work next. I put two inner pads on the driver's side, and I got to the passenger side, and now I can't get my pads in, and I'm realizing there's two different ones. So if you're wondering why they make it look so fun and easy on TV, it's because they edit out their problems. the impact. When I was just getting them there, I always bring them in, let it back a couple times, and then back it off a little bit so I can torque them, because sometimes if you don't torque these things right, they will wear out so fast and get loose just like the one we took off. Okay, I got the front wrapped up to where I want it. We got new rotors, new pads, new bearings, new outer tie rod ends. We got new boots. You already know about the inners. Threw a couple heavy duty zip ties on here so those lines don't fall out. And I think it's time to get to the back. You're probably seeing this because I spent too much time behind the keyboard editing stuff, so if you're seeing this clip, it's because I'm going to break this thing up into 2 parts and make it a little bit more manageable for me and for you guys. And yeah, I don't know, trying something different.